We'll give everybody a few more minutes and then we'll get started, all right?
All right.
That nigga, I used to have that nigga take me before I did. Then his ass stopped paying me, so I stopped trying. I made him pay me $20 every week.
This kid, Kilbo on you.
Kilbowitz, you can just call me Coach K.
All right, my bad. If we have any questions, what's best for you, email or text message? Like, which one would you prefer?
You guys can do either, but just don't text me and expect a response right away if it's later on in the day, or text me late at night. During the day, email is probably the best just because I'll be at my computer and I can get back to you guys. Does that work?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I'm just going to give everybody like 1 more minute. Okay, guys?
All right.
Okay, you guys can all hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, if you guys don't have your video screens on, please turn those on so I can give you guys attendance. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions, concerns, or anything before we get into what we have this week? Nope. Okay. Announcements for this week. Okay, obviously we are going to finish lecturing on chapter 17, so you guys can get started on that study guide. Okay, chapter 17 and chapter 18 study guides, however, are not due until Sunday, November 15th. Okay, or I'm sorry, yes, November 15th. So you guys don't need to turn them in yet. However, I recommend if you guys are want to work ahead, make sure you guys get 17 done, so then you guys can study for the exam, and then 18, when 18 comes around, you don't have that much stuff to do. Thinking about the Thursday class, let's make sure that we are turning in our workouts if we have not. Okay, I know technically these are 2 separate classes, but I just want you guys to know that you should be turning those in. I am missing quite a few, so in that class, we seem to have a little bit of a harder time getting things in on time. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are paying attention to what the syllabus says, announcements on Blackboard, email, or what I'm telling you guys in lecture. I don't want you to miss out on points just because you haven't turned anything in. Okay, obviously, whether it be completely right, wrong, whatever, that's better points than a 0. Okay, so just make sure you guys think about that. Obviously, if you have any questions on that, let me know. Your grading in both classes is up to date. So make sure you guys check if you have things that are missing. And then I also did grade the workouts that you guys turned in and left you notes. So if anybody has any questions on any of that stuff, please let me know. Okay. All right.
So is there going to be like 1 workout per week pretty much that we have to do?
So you guys just did the endurance resistance training workouts were obviously due last week. And then you had those 4 workouts that I signed this last Thursday. So endurance, hypertrophy, power, and strength. Okay. And so then this week, what we are going to be lecturing on is cardiorespiratory training. Okay. So then you will have workouts to do on cardiorespiratory training. So you guys should assume, yes, that for every Thursday class we have until the end of the semester, you will have an assignment due that following Sunday. Okay. So we'll lecture and then stuff is going to be due that Sunday. So 4 days later. Okay. This is that final push for the semester. But like I said, guys, if you have questions on those workouts, I don't expect them to be super easy, but you have to be asking me, okay? And we have to make sure that we are following directions. Does that answer your question, Jacob?
Yeah, and I did the quiz late. Is it still gonna count?
Yeah, I put
Okay,
those
thank
grades
you.
in. I did that. Okay, yeah, so if you guys have quizzes that are still due, make sure you do them. Quiz 3, which is gonna be on chapter 8, which will open up this Thursday after your lecture, is due Sunday. So you guys have another quiz. So don't miss out on those points, okay? Again, if it is late, I will accept it until I tell you I will not anymore. It just won't be counted for full points, okay? All right, if you guys have questions on lecture today, just stop me, okay? Just say, hey, Coach K, and I'll stop and you guys can ask. Okay, so today we are gonna finish talking about lipids and water. So we'll finish chapter 17 and you guys will be able to complete that study guide, okay? It's not a very long lecture, so you guys shouldn't be here for too long, okay? But obviously lipids, okay? They are technically considered fats in your body. So we have sterols, triglycerides, and phospholipids. We will go along in the lecture and I will explain all of them for you guys, okay? Hold on, sorry, I can't see my screen. Let me move you guys, okay. So sterols, which is considered cholesterol, okay? Obviously cholesterol is naturally produced in your body in the liver and is available in foods. What type of foods do you guys think cholesterol might be in that you guys eat every day?
Like grains.
So cholesterol, if it's fat, okay, so we've talked about what kind of foods does fat contain. Yes, grains does contain fats, but grains are technically
Meats.
meat's going to be more so cholesterol. So it's going to depend on the type of cholesterol. Okay, so if we look here, okay, so we have very low density lipoproteins and we have LDLs, which are the low density lipoproteins. We did go over this in the beginning of class earlier in the year, but remember, so those low density lipoproteins and those very low density lipoproteins, those cholesterols are not good in your body. Okay, so that's what you are going to find in things like animal products, anything that is pure fat, like dairy fats, those types of things. So if you're thinking in terms of this type of cholesterol is the type of cholesterol that would actually be clogging your arteries. Okay, so you don't want to have a large amount of that in your body. Your HDLs, your high density lipoproteins, are the good forms of cholesterol. So the more HDLs you have, the better, or the more that they help out carry these cholesterols to the body to be expelled. So you guys want to have a lot of high or HDLs. Can you guys think of any type of food, and Kenzie, you were kind of on the right track of that, that would have HDLs in them?
Any type of food?
Well, take a stab at what type of food do you think, or any specific type of food?
Eggs.
Say it again.
Eggs.
So eggs have fat, but eggs are technically considered to have LDLs, which is bad cholesterol. Okay, there's also tons
Bacon?
of good stuff in eggs, but say it again.
Bacon?
Okay, so do you guys think bacon is good for you though? Okay, we're trying
Yeah.
to.
Yes.
Well, it's delicious. I eat it too, but technically it's not good for you. Okay, so don't think so much animal product. What else do we have besides animal products that would have HDLs in them?
Vegetables.
So not technically vegetables, but let's think like, so nuts, fish oils, those types of things have high density lipoproteins that are good forms of cholesterol for your body and help get rid of the LDLs and the VLDLs. Okay. Your book does have some more examples of it, but like some of the best things would be like almonds, walnuts, avocados have good fats in them as well. Okay, so those are the types of things. So they're not going to be animal products if we're looking for HDLs. So LDLs and VLDLs are more so going to be those animal products. Not that animal products are bad for you. It's just going to be something that you're going to have to intake at a smaller portions and maybe not have, say, a big, massive red steak every day. Okay. We know we all like steak, bacon. I eat it too. Okay. We just can't be eating it every day because it has a lot of
Good.
bad lipoproteins. Okay. And then, so the ratio between LDLs and HDLs is the current blood test used to evaluate the risk of cardiovascular disease. So do you guys remember that number that those two had to add up to, what that was and what it could be below in order to be considered to have good cholesterol? Does anybody remember?
I think it was 250.
200. So you were on the right track. So 200. So as if we go to the doctor and we get our cholesterol tested and it's over 200, then we have too high of cholesterol. Okay. So you want those two numbers obviously to add up to 200 or below. Okay. Hold on a second. Okay. So you guys don't necessarily need to know all of this, but obviously triglycerides. Okay. Do we remember what triglycerides are in the body? No, nobody. They're your stored type of fat. Okay. And then remember that triglycerides are broken down to free fatty acids, and then that's what's used for energy. So this is basically just the chemistry behind it. It says there's 3 fatty acids attached to glycerol. Okay. So this is glycerol, and then these are those 3 fatty acids that are attached off of it. Okay. Not necessarily something you guys need to know, but maybe later down in life, if you guys are taking chemistry and those types of things, it's going to be a little bit more important. Okay. So when triglycerides are metabolized, okay, so we remember what metabolism is. It's taking our substrates and using them for energy in our body. Glycerol can be converted to glucose and provide energy. Okay. So this, we should all kind of somewhat understand what happens in our body to be able to use that, those triglycerides for energy in our body. Okay. So saturated fatty acids. Okay. So there's going to be saturated fatty acids and unsaturated fatty acids. We'll get to unsaturated on the next slide. Saturated fatty acids are solid at room temperature. Okay. So if you guys ever had a steak and you cooked it and you left that steak on the table and you could see that fat part of it, it actually hardens at room temperature. Okay, so it only softens up when you cook it. Okay, so if you guys look here, it's commonly found in animal meats. Okay, so obviously cows, things like that, pork. Okay, all the things that taste oh so good. Okay, also in lard, butter, coconut oil, palm oil. If you had any of these things, and you guys should know, obviously with butter, if you take it out of the fridge, it doesn't ever melt. The only way you can actually melt it obviously is if you put it in the microwave or something along those lines. Same thing with coconut oil. I know there's a huge like fad on coconut oil is awesome. It's good for you. Yes, coconut oil is good for you, but it is high in saturated fat. So you have to limit your amount of that. Okay. So remember, saturated fats are going to be hard at room temperature. Okay, then we're going to have unsaturated fatty acids, and then those are broken down into monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. Okay, these are the good saturated fats. Okay, so unsaturated fatty acids are unstable or soft at room temperature. So think things like olive oil, sunflower oil, any type of oil, okay, is going to be soft at room temperature. Okay, if you guys see here, it says it's implicated in increased HDL, good cholesterol. Okay, so you want HDL. You want to make sure you are taking in these things. If you look, none of these are animal products. Okay, so our monounsaturated fatty acids are things like olive oil, canola oil, almond oil. Okay, almonds are some of the best things that you guys can eat for heart health. Okay, and then we have polyunsaturated fats that are contained in peanuts, macadamia nuts, safflower oil, corn oil. Okay, there is a bad rap for corn oil. I don't think it's really that bad, but some people are not that fond of it. It's just how it's processed that makes it certain corn oils bad. So if you guys look, these are the types of fats that you need in your body, okay? Unsaturated fatty acids, okay, help to lower your cholesterol, okay, and help increase good heart health, okay? So if you guys ever hear of anyone going to the doctor and saying you have high cholesterol, things of that nature, the doctor is going to say you should be eating things like that. And then there's also, they come in pill form, things of that nature, and even fish oils and stuff like that. Okay, so just remember, unsaturated fatty acids are good for your health and are unstable, soft at room temperature. And those saturated fatty acids are technically what's worse for you, and they are solid at room temperature. Okay, any questions on that stuff so far?
Is there a difference with the mono and the poly?
There is a difference, okay, but they're both good. Just the mono and the poly, what happens, mono unsaturated, technically what that means that there's one double bond of carbon, okay? Poly unsaturated means there's two double bonds of carbon if we're going down to the chemistry level. So this is broken down a little bit easier. This takes a little bit longer to break down. So that's the difference between them, but they're both needed, okay? So you guys can't just have mono unsaturated fats. You have to have both mono unsaturated fats, both poly unsaturated fats in order to get the full benefit. Does that make more sense? Okay, cool. All right, so lipids, there are functions to fats in our bodies, okay? So it provides energy. So if you guys remember proteins and carbs, we said they only yielded 4 calories per gram. If we look at fat, it yields 9 calories per gram, okay? If you guys think about the process in the body of metabolism to actually get energy out of fat, there are that many more steps, okay? It's hard to start breaking down fat, but once you get there, it yields that much more energy. And like we said, there's an unlimited supply in the body. You cannot burn it off, okay? It also transports fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, okay? You don't need to know what each and every single one of these is used for, but you do need to know that you need fat in your body to actually transport these vitamins throughout your body, okay? The cellular membrane structure and function is made of fat, okay? So your cells in your body, the outside membrane is made of fat, okay? Fat also helps to serve and protect organs. So we have fat around our organs, okay, things of that nature. It's a precursor to hormones, okay? We need fat to create hormones and transfer our hormones, especially testosterone, okay? And then it also prolongs digestive processes by slowing gastric emptying. So what that means, it's slowing down the process of digestion, which is creating a more full feeling, okay? That's what that word satiety is called. It's just a way of feeling more full in your body. So when you guys eat fats, you should technically feel more full. It takes longer to break it down, so your body in turn feels a little bit more full. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving along. So recommendations for fat in our body. Okay. So they say, so for fat, we need about 20 to 35% of total calories from fat. Now, let me say, when you guys are doing this, even if you are eating 35% fat, you should not be eating loads and loads of saturated fat. So all those animal products and stuff that's fried in lard and things of that nature, yeah, it tastes really good, and absolutely you can have it in moderation, but you should not be getting all your fat content from that. You need to make sure you are also putting good fat content into your body. Okay, athletes maybe need a little bit less, so 20 to 25%, but it just depends on their activity level and what they are doing. Okay, so you guys need to know, in terms of everybody, 20 to 35% of your total calories come from fat. Okay. So digestion, satiety is that full feeling, okay, and usage of fat. So digestion of dietary fat starts in the mouth, moves to the stomach, and is completed in the small intestine. So as soon as you guys take in fat, your mouth is full of of chemicals that start to break down that food, okay? And then it goes to your entire digestive system, and then it's finally broken down in the small intestine with a bunch of other acids in your body, okay? You don't need to know the whole process, but you just kind of need to know where it goes, okay? So dietary fats stimulate the release of CCK. So make sure you guys remember CCK, which is a hormone that signals satiety, okay? So that hormone is released to make you guys feel full, okay? So this is why when you eat, this hormone is released, you feel full, and then fats slow down the digestion of food, assisting in blood sugar stabilization, okay? So we should know that blood sugar, if it's too high, okay, then diabetes and things like that come into play. If it's too low, then we don't have glucose in our blood in order to give us energy throughout our body. So fats do help to stabilize blood sugar, okay? So if people are not eating any fats in their diet, okay, it's also not good. You need to have a good amount of proteins, carbs, fats, all of that in the body, not just one or the other. Okay. And then medium chain triglycerides can be used for fuel. Okay. So these are not going to be animal product fats, but more things along the lines of like chicken has fat in it, or technically that is an animal product, but not a red meat product. Okay. Things like almonds, nuts, all those types of things can be broken down into medium chain triglycerides that can actually be used for fuel, okay? This is not necessarily the most important thing for you guys to remember. It's not on your exam, but good thing to know that medium chain triglycerides are what you guys will be using for actual fuel in your body, okay? Everybody still with me so far? Okay, cool. All right, so insulin resistance and obesity. Okay, so if we're talking about fat, the growing fat cell itself, so the actual fat in your body, the more fat you have actually starts to grow in size, okay? Becomes insulin resistant, and the resulting prevalence of free fatty acid, okay, which is what's broken down in your body for energy, will cause the body to favor the use of fat for energy at the expense of glucose. Why is that bad? Can anyone tell me why that's bad? What does the body prefer to use as fuel?
Carbs.
Carbs. So that's glucose. Okay. So if our body becomes insulin resistant and wants to use fat for fuel, it's not going to use glucose, which in turn raises blood sugar. Okay. And that's not what we want to have in our body. Okay. So it creates a vicious cycle with overweight condition leading to insulin resistance, which in turn leads to impaired glucose usage. Okay. So basically just your body becomes resistant to insulin. Remember, insulin is what regulates glucose in our body. Okay. So if our body becomes insulin resistant, we can't actually use the glucose that is in our body. In turn, it raises our blood sugar. Okay. High fats are strongly associated with obesity and thus insulin resistance and diabetes. Okay, so high fat diets, okay, a lot of people that have high fat diets aren't necessarily going about and eating nuts and having fish oils and all that good stuff. They're eating a lot of fried foods, okay, or high saturated fatty meats from animal products. Okay. So this is basically what high fat foods do to you. So this is why you guys have to understand, yes, it's okay to eat saturated fat in moderation, but it shouldn't be everything that comes out of your diet. Okay. It will eventually lead to obesity if you're taking in too much fat. Okay. And causing insulin resistance and can lead to diabetes and things of that nature. Okay. You have to remember this is obese individuals, not necessarily someone that just might be a little bit overweight. Okay. Any questions on fat and how it affects the body and what we use it for? Okay, all right, so let's go to our last thing of the day. So water, so general recommendations for how much water you should take in your body every day. So 3 liters for men, which is about 13 cups, okay, and 2.2 liters for women, which is about 9 cups. I guarantee you, if you are an athlete or you're a more active individual, you probably drink a whole lot more water than this. Okay. I drink a lot of water. Okay. I have a big water bottle that's like 33 ounces and I have like 3 of them a day. Okay. So, that's a lot of water throughout the day. Generally though, for any individual, whether you have more, okay, or that level, you want to make sure you are having that level. You need to have water in your body, which we will talk about, to do certain things in your body. Okay. If I'm trying to think, like if you go to the doctor, it's an individual that's only having about 3 cups of water a day. Okay. If they went to the doctor said, hey, you need to be drinking more water. Okay. The doctor wouldn't look at them and say, you only have 3 cups of water a day. Okay. Now you have to drink 10 additional cups of water a day. That's way too much. It'll be a process that will eventually get them there. Okay. So you don't want to overdo. Your body becomes used to what you are doing. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily functioning perfectly. Okay. But we have to take that stepping stool to get up to that point. Okay. A fat loss program requires an additional 8 ounces of water for every 25 pounds a person carries above the ideal body weight. So just think about that for a second. If you are going into a fat loss workout, things of that nature, if I am 25 pounds overweight, I'm going to need to have an additional 8 ounces of water. We need water in our body to break down fats, to break down carbohydrates, all those types of things. Okay, so for every additional 25 pounds, rule of thumb is another 8 ounces. This is going to be dependent on the individual, okay? But I want you guys just to know the general rule for that, okay? Intake should be increased if a client is exercising briskly or in a hot climate. Why do you guys think that? Can someone tell me why you think we should be taking in more water if we were exercising briskly? So let's think high intensity workout or in a hot climate.
So it keeps you hydrated and keeps your journalism going.
So it keeps you hydrated, and someone else says because you sweat. Okay, so yeah, as you guys are doing high intensity activity, you sweat. And if you sweat a lot, you're getting rid of potassium, sodium, all those electrolytes in your body that keep metabolism and energy going. Okay, if we sweat that all out and we don't put water back in, yes, we are going to become dehydrated. Okay, so obviously, rule of thumb, if it's a high intensity workout, hot climate, the more you sweat, the more water you're going to need to intake during your workout and then also after your workout. Okay. All right. So importance of water. So water is about 60% of the adult human body weight. Okay. So yes, we have muscles, ligaments, bones, all those types of things, but 60% of our body weight is water. Okay. I don't know if you guys pay attention to your weight or whatnot. Okay. But your weight can fluctuate by 5 pounds every day. Okay. If you guys wake up in the morning, you probably weigh less than when you do at night. Okay. It could be due to many reasons, but losing water in your body, okay, could make you weigh less. If you put too much water in your body, okay, and you're overhydrated, it could make you weigh more. Okay. A fluid loss of 2% of body weight adversely affects circulatory function and decreases performance. So that would be dehydration. It's not the easiest to get dehydrated, okay? But if you're not intaking any water, you're eating salty foods, things of that nature, and you're working out, you do have the risk of becoming dehydrated. So 2% might not seem like a lot, but it is a drastic change in hydration in your body, okay? Benefits of water include improved endocrine gland function. Okay, so it helps hormones and your endocrine glands to send hormones out. It also increases the percentage of fat used for energy purposes. Okay, we need water for metabolism and all those types of things. It does decrease your appetite. Okay, it distributes nutrients throughout the body efficiently, regulates body temperature, okay, things of that nature, and maintains blood volume. Okay, all these, you need water to maintain all of these things in your body. Okay, so you cannot live without water is basically what I am trying to say. Okay, it is the essential thing that every human and living object on this earth actually needs to have. You need to survive, you need to have water. Okay, any questions? Okay, all right, so
I have a
oh yeah, go ahead.
Does water actually like replenish electrolytes, or is that just sports drinks?
So sports drinks will replenish the electrolytes, okay? But you need water in order to cool down your body and keep metabolism going, okay? And to use the electrolytes in your body. Does that somewhat make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yep.
I have one.
Yep, go ahead.
So so the amount of water that you put in your body, why would that help? Like, why would that gain weight?
If you
If
guys
you're
are just, because if you're putting in an access, so I drink a lot of water, but I drink a lot of water because I move around a lot, okay? And I am naturally someone that has a higher metabolism, okay? So if my body is moving around a lot, metabolism is happening, I have run the risk of getting dehydrated easier than someone that's either sedentary or their metabolism isn't working as hard. So what I'm saying is if you guys are just sitting around not doing anything and you're intaking tons and tons of water, okay, sometimes you retain water. It's basically what happens when your body bloats. Okay. I don't know, guys, maybe you don't bloat as much as women. Okay. Be happy. But all that stuff retains water and then your body's not actually using it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of people getting overhydrated and having to go to the hospital. So I know some people drink like gallons of water a day. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. It's dependent on what your activity level is. But some people overhydrate themselves to think that it's healthy and as a way to lose weight. And all it is doing is basically flushing your body of all the nutrients that you need and all those electrolytes. Okay, so if you overhydrate, that's what's going to happen in your body. Did I answer your question, Marshawn, or did I totally confuse you?
No, you answered it. You had made me understand it a lot better.
Okay, cool. All right. As always, guys, just stop me if you have a question. Okay, so if we are talking about dehydration and things of that nature, so this is the reason that if you are dehydrated in the body, why our systems do not work as hard. Okay, so if we don't have enough water in our body and we're dehydrated, it decreases blood volume. Okay, think about it. We need blood circulating through our body in order to deliver nutrients and oxygen. Okay, that in turn will decrease performance, right? If we don't have the nutrients, we don't have the oxygen, we're not going to be able to perform as much. It's going to decrease blood pressure because we are not getting that oxygen, that nutrients. Our heart isn't going to want to pump as hard, okay? Decreases sweat rate, okay? So remember, we need to sweat in order to keep that homeostasis of our electrolytes and also to cool down our body temperature as we are working out. Decreases blood flow to the skin, okay? Blood flow to the skin helps decrease the heat in our body, okay? And then also when our sweat is on our body and it evaporates, that's what cools us down. Decreases cardiac output, okay? So this is kind of going to go along the lines with blood pressure and things of that nature. Remember, our cardiac output is the amount of blood that we are pumping through our body within an entire minute. Okay, so if we've decreased blood pressure and blood volume, we're not pumping out as much blood throughout our bodies for that minute. Okay, so we've decreased our cardiac output. It does increase heart rate. Okay, sometimes if you guys don't have enough water in your system and your body is trying to compensate for that, okay, sometimes it increases your heart rate. Your heart is going to try to pump faster to in turn carry the blood through your body. However, the faster your heart pumps, okay, and not at the right moment, the less blood that's actually going to be coming out. If I confuse anyone with that, just let me know. Increased perceived exertion. So remember, we have that rate of perceived exertion, okay? Like how hard do we feel as though we are working out? If we are dehydrated, we are going to feel as though we are working a whole lot harder than we actually are, okay? Think energy loss, okay? And everything's just a little bit harder to do, okay? And it's also increased use of muscle glycogen. Why would an increased use of muscle glycogen not be good? Is our muscle glycogen where immediate source of glucose is or where stored source of glucose is?
Immediate source.
Other way. So
Stored
it's
source.
stored. Yep. So it's stored. So if we're using all our stored muscle glycogen that's then getting turned into the glucose that's in our blood to be used, we're using it all up really quickly. When our body is tired and we're trying to exert energy and we don't have water and things of that nature, it's going to try to work harder than it actually needs to do. Okay, so this is why all of these things happen. If anybody is confused on any of this stuff, just let me know and I can obviously break it down a little bit more. But make sure you guys do reference this slide because I know that there are questions on your exam on this. And there's also questions on your study guide on this. Okay, all right. Moving on. Okay, so guidelines for fluid replacement. So think we're working out, we're sweating, so we obviously need to replace our fuel. Okay, so it says consume 14 to 22 ounces of fluid 2 hours before exercise. Now, this is going to be dependent on the type of exercise that you guys do. Okay, if I am just going in and lifting some weights and maybe I'm not breaking into a sweat as much as I would be if I'm doing a complete power workout or a high intensity workout, then I might need not as much water, okay? But rule of thumb for general exercise, okay, you guys remember 14 to 22 ounces of water 2 hours before exercise, okay? So during exercise, we should be drinking 6 to 12 ounces of fluid for every 15 to 20 minutes of exercise. That seems like a lot, but yes, it's true. As you guys sweat, you need to replenish the water in your body, okay? Fluids should be cool because of rapid gastric emptying, okay? You want the fluid to be cool so you don't expel it out super quickly. That's basically what that means, okay? Not that you guys are ever really working out and drinking hot liquids. I don't know, maybe some people like it, but if you're hot, you're working out, you wanna take in those cold liquids. Any confusion on that? There is a part in your study guide that you guys are going to need to fill this in on, so make sure you reference that slide, okay? So more guidelines for fluid replacement, okay? If exercise is less than 60 minutes, water is best choice for fluid replacement, okay? So 60 minutes is kind of that breaking point of whether you need to have water or Gatorade that has electrolytes in it. Rule of thumb says if it's less than 60 minutes, water is okay. Okay, ingest 16 to 24 ounces of fluid for every pound of body weight lost after exercise, especially if rapid rehydration is necessary. Okay, let me talk you through this. The only way you know how much fluid you've actually lost during exercise is to weigh yourself before exercise and to weigh yourself after exercise. I actually challenge you guys to do that if you can do that. Okay, that way you know how much fluid you've lost. Then you know how much liquid you need to put into your body after, okay? Obviously, the more intense the activity and the longer that you've worked out, the more fluid replacement that you will actually need. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, all right. So if we want to alter body composition, okay, so if we're talking about actual fat loss, okay, so now we have a client, whether, or it could be us or a client, and we want to actually lose fat in our body, okay? Several ways to do it, but so make small decreases in food and beverage calories and increase physical activity, okay? Sometimes you'll hear of people just drastically changing what they are taking in, okay? Really cutting their calories just to lose weight. You guys need to remember, in order to lose fat, okay, you have to burn more calories than what you actually take in, okay? First of all, you need to know how many calories you guys need a day. Okay, so remember that total energy expenditure that we were talking about in the beginning of this lecture. Okay, so calories in, calories out, that's where fat loss is. Okay, so you make small decreases in food and beverage calories. Okay, so say I take in 2,000 calories. I don't the next day decide, oh, I'm taking in only 1,500 calories. Okay, if you do that, okay, your body is not going to know how to respond to it. Okay, you're really going to goof with your metabolism. So it's small little changes. Okay, you want to distribute protein, carbs, and fat throughout the day at each meal. This is an important one. Some people wake up, they don't eat breakfast, they have a tiny, tiny lunch, and then they eat a massive meal at the end of the day. There are different studies on this. Different doctors agree with different things, but for fat loss, you want to make sure that you are fueling your body still, okay, especially if you are increasing your activity, okay, but you do want to cut your calories. So if you distribute your protein, carbs, and fat throughout the day in even 3 little meals or 4 little meals, it's going to help with fat loss, Okay. You want to choose whole grains and fresh vegetables over refined grains and simple sugars. Okay. Remember, whole grains are going to be things like wheat, 7-grain bread, oatmeal, things of that nature. There's more nutrients in it, and it's going to take longer to break down. So you're going to feel more full. Fresh vegetables, obviously, over refined grains. So refined grains would be like white bread, things of that nature, and simple sugars. The issue with these are they contain a lot of calories, and they're also broken down super, super quick. So it can spike your blood sugar. You can have energy for a little bit, and then you crash. So this is why you want whole grains and vegetables, okay? Avoid empty calories and high processed foods. So empty calories would be something like, oh, I'm going to go to Starbucks and I'm going to get a Frappuccino that's 600 calories. Okay. Not saying that's wrong. Totally your prerogative if you want to do that. I've done it too. But that would be considered empty calories. That's not calories you need throughout the day kind of thing. And then highly processed foods. So if we think of highly processed foods, this is a lot of packaged foods. So if you guys are looking at, I know that that's difficult. Not everyone can cook, things of that nature. Not everyone can get fresh foods. So rule of thumb, if you guys are looking at, say, a label on the back of a product that is processed, okay, because anything we find that's in a bag, bread, cereal, whatever it may be, technically it's processed food. The less ingredients that processed food has, the better, okay? So just think about it that way. That means it's a more natural product, okay? And you never really want to look at a product or take a product and say the first or second ingredient is some form of sugar, okay? That means most of the calories in that food is going to come from sugar, okay? You also want to drink 9 to 13 cups of water per day, okay? We all talked about water helps with digestion, energy, all those types of things. And then the last one, this one I somewhat kind of disagree with, but for the purpose of this class, weigh and measure foods for at least 1 week. The reason you want to weigh and measure your foods, so say you've gone to a nutritionist, he or she has put together an entire food log for you, exactly what you need, the exact amount you need to eat. Sometimes it's hard to just go to your kitchen and know exactly what a portion size is. So this is why they tell you to weigh or measure your food, okay? If you are weighing or measuring your food for fat loss because you are overweight or obese and the doctor has said this is the best way for you to do it, I think this is absolutely good. Once you get to the point where you are constantly weighing and measuring your food and you're almost obsessed and have to do it, this is when you should not be weighing or measuring your food. Okay, then it becomes an issue, and that's what we were focusing on. So this is why sometimes this one I'm a little iffy with, but then again, I am not a nutrition specialist, so I can't give you guys the complete answer on that. Okay, any questions on fat loss? Okay, cool. Couple more slides, guys. We have about 6 and then we will be done. Okay, so lean body mass gain. Okay, so if we were trying to gain lean body mass, we're trying to gain muscle in our body. Okay, so you want to spread out your meals. You want 4 to 6 meals per day. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit different than fat loss. Okay, where we kind of spread out our meals maybe 3 times a day. 4 to 6 meals a day. Can someone maybe tell me why you think you'd want 4 to 6 meals a day?
Gives your body more time to digest each meal.
That can be part of it. Okay, definitely. And also if you guys are gaining lean body mass, you're going to be more of an active individual. Okay, so you're going to want to take in smaller meals throughout the day. So if I'm gaining lean body mass, I'm going to need more protein in my body. And technically, protein in your body can only technically absorb 20 grams of protein per each meal. Okay, so some people make this massive protein shake and there's like 70 grams of protein. You're technically only intaking and using about 20 of those grams. The rest of it is expelled through the body. Okay, so this is why also spreading out your meals helps with that. It keeps you energized, okay, throughout the day, like we said, with more activity level. Okay, and then we can spread out our protein intake throughout the day as well in order to help with our body, to gain muscle in our body. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay. Okay, I just said that. Spread protein intake throughout the day. Okay, consume meal or drink of protein and carbohydrate within 90 minutes after exercise. Okay, so this is important if you are trying to gain lean body mass. Okay, remember, as we work out, we break down our muscle fibers. We want to put more protein into our body in order to repair the protein and build more protein. So we need to do that within 90 minutes of exercise. Remember, we also want to intake carbohydrate. Okay, so remember that thing that we said, that fat burns in a carbohydrate flame. Okay, you can't burn fat, okay, with our carbohydrates. You also can't produce or use protein to repair your body if you don't have carbohydrates. Remember, carbohydrates is what keeps metabolism going. Okay, if we don't have those carbohydrates, your body is going to take that protein after your workout and use that for energy. Okay, so this is why we want those carbohydrates there. Okay, basically same thing. Remember the importance of carbohydrate and fat in your balanced diet. Just what I said with those two things. Okay, any questions whatsoever on lean body mass and then also fat loss? Okay. All right, so the last few slides are going to be a few questions that we're going to go over, okay? And then these questions are going to be on your actual study guide. Okay, so one of the myths that everybody says or questions is, do carbohydrates make me fat? You guys have heard me talk about this before. No, carbohydrates do not make you fat. No, don't go eat pounds of cake and donuts a day, okay? That's also full of sugar and fat, okay? But you need carbohydrates in your body, right? Why do we need carbohydrates? Somebody tell me that. I just said it like 2 seconds ago. Can anyone remember?
To keep our metabolism.
Yeah,
so.
Basically, okay? Carbs are our body's preferred form of energy, okay? We need carbohydrates for everything that we do, okay? Select carbohydrates that are going to be higher in fiber to help with satiety, blood sugar regulation, and energy balance, okay? So remember we talked about those complex carbohydrates. They're broken down slower, so they give you more energy. They also make you feel fuller. And then we also have that fiber to keep our insides and things like that healthy, okay? You want to avoid overconsumption of processed carbohydrates. So what I just said, so if you guys are eating tons of donuts, cakes, things of that nature, fried foods, white bread, all those types of things that are those simple carbohydrates along with fats and sugars, that is what's going to lead to stored fat and things like that if you guys do not burn it off, okay? And also it obviously is high in fat, and we just talked about fat. We don't want that saturated fat in our body, okay? But no, carbohydrates do not make you fat, okay? So make sure you guys understand why carbohydrates don't make you fat, okay, for your test along with your study guide, okay? Another myth or question that a lot of people get, does eating at night make me fat? I feel as though I'm most hungry at night, but no, eating at night does not make you fat. When you eat throughout the day isn't what's going to make you fat. Okay, so weight gain is a result of eating too many calories, okay, not the time of day you consume those calories, okay, but eating too many calories. However, we did talk about if we want to lose fat, we should be spreading out our meals. And if we want to gain lean body mass, we should also be spreading out our meals, okay? But no, if you guys eat a very large meal at night, will that make you guys fat? That's basically just a myth. It doesn't matter. It's more the calories you take in and you don't burn off, okay? Any questions on that? Okay. Which is superior for weight loss, low fat or low carb? It's really neither. It just kind of depends. Okay, so weight loss is achieved when calories consumed are less than calories expended. Okay, so by this point, I've said this like 5 times today. So calories in over calories out. You need to burn more calories than you take in to lose fat. Okay, however, some people will say low fat is good if you have high cholesterol, things of that nature, okay? Some people will claim that low carbs is good because they think it turns into fat somehow. It really doesn't matter. I think you just need a healthy balance of both of them, okay? And it's obviously going to depend on your activity level. If you have a high activity level, you're going to need more carbohydrates for energy, okay? 3 more, guys. Woo! Sorry, hold on. Okay, can I eat whatever I want as long as I exercise? I wish. No, technically not. Okay, so weight gain is a result of eating too many calories, like we've just said. But speaking of in terms of this entire lecture, okay, if you guys hear people say like, oh, I'm going to work out so I can eat a bunch of donuts, okay? Well, yeah, okay, you fine, burn those calories so maybe you can eat a donut or two, which is fine. But if we're thinking in terms of what donuts contain or cake or any of those processed foods, they're not containing any nutrients. They have a lot of sugar in them, which is going to spike your blood sugar, and they also have a lot of fat in them, okay? So we want to make sure that we are avoiding things of that nature. Okay. And then lastly, what are the risks of starvation diets? So those starvation diets are technically diets that are super, super low calorie. Okay. Even if you went to the doctor and they put you on a diet, they would never put you on a starvation diet. Okay. You need calories in your body to maintain everyday functions, metabolism, sleep, all those types of things. Okay. So starvation diets will increase malnutrition, okay? We're not getting the nutrition that we need in our body. It will give us poor energy. We don't have that glucose for energy. There's a behavioral pendulum, okay? You're gonna go up and down with your mood, okay? Remember, you do need calories and stuff to for your endocrine glands, your thyroid glands, what affects your mood, okay? It will affect fatigue, or it will cause fatigue, constipation, nausea, diarrhea. All sorts of funky things can happen if you guys are restricting your body of total calories, okay? Also gallstone formation. So word of thumb here, no starvation diets. You need those calories in your body to maintain everyday life, okay? Even without just talking about if you're going to work out or whatever, you need that to maintain thinking, metabolism, all that kind of stuff, being able to sleep. All that actually requires calories. Okay. And then last one is consuming a high protein diet superior for muscle gain. Okay, there's a little bit debate on that. Remember, we talked about when we talked about protein, if you have a super, super high amount of protein, chances are if you're taking an extra protein, you're taking in protein from animal products. And now we know that animal products contain saturated fat. So there's a toss up on that. For some people, it's all right. For other people, it's not. You have to think about what type of protein you're intaking. If you're taking an extra protein, maybe a protein powder that doesn't really have that cholesterol in it, you're not taking in that steak that does have that cholesterol in it. So you guys kind of have to think about it that way. But everybody's body is different and reacts to it differently. Okay. Some people take in protein that's vegan that technically doesn't really even have any saturated fat in it. But active individuals do need more protein than sedentary people, okay? You're burning more calories, you are working your muscles, you need that protein for all of that repair in your body, okay? So 0.5 to 0.8 grams per pound is normally what a regular person would intake, I didn't mean a regular person, I'm sorry. I meant someone that is more active is going to intake 0.5 to 0.8 grams per pound or 1.2 to 1 grams per kilogram of body weight, okay? So if you guys are not doing kilograms per body weight, think about it this way per pound in your body. So this is how you guys, if you are an active individual and you are working out a lot, especially resistance training workouts, things of that nature, this is how much protein you would need per pound of your actual body weight, okay? Any questions on anything that we just went over? Okay, so all of this stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but yes, it can get a little bit confusing because there's a lot of different elements go into it. If you guys sit down and you are confused on your study guide, please let me know so I can give you examples and I can talk you guys through this stuff. This is very important for you guys to understand, whether you are just doing this class or going to more kinesiology classes after this, because you need to know how the substrates work in your body and what you need to use them for. Okay. So for homework, obviously you guys start working on chapter 17. Okay. We will go over chapter 18 next week. And then both of those study guides will be due on November 15th. Okay. For the Thursday class, please start looking at Blackboard to see what you guys are missing. Okay. I'm not trying to be a negative person, but there are a lot of you that are missing things in it. Okay. So that just means that we are not paying attention. okay? Or we're confused on what's due. If we are confused on what's due, then you guys need to let me know, okay? You guys are college students now. You can look at your emails, you can look at Blackboard, okay, to know what you guys have, okay? So just make sure you're looking at that so we get those assignments in. So come the last week of class, you're not scrambling to get it in and asking me if you can actually turn something in that late. So just get it done, okay? Any questions before I send you guys on your way?
Now that I could think of now.
Okay, I will hang out for a few minutes. Otherwise, you guys can head out and then I will see you guys all on Thursday virtually. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Yeah.